Hello everyone, Momo-Dog here. Today I want to get into a topic that I've been asked about a lot again recently. It's a topic I did somewhat cover before, but I want to make a video about it specifically because I do think it's pretty important for any Mishima player at any level. So someone in one of my most recent comments in like my YouTube community section asked, Momo, how do you properly use your wave dash as a Mishima player? How do you make the best use of your movement? When is it the most appropriate to be wave dashing, to be backdashing, and when is it too much, basically? And I'm here to answer that question. So, wave dashing with Mishimas, if I can be that honest, it's not that important for you until you see that people actually start respecting your wave dash, and that's very late into the ranks, like purple to blue ranks, maybe that's when people start respecting a wave dash. So what does this mean? It means that if you're wave dashing and your opponents constantly disrespect you, like you go in and let's say this opposing Kazuya player immediately presses a down 4-2 into me while I'm, trying to wave dash into him and pressing a button. I will get counter hit because I'm spending so many frames on my wave dash. Like, I try to go in and I get counted, basically, because they are using this for keep out. And as a result, you will quickly find out that your wave dash isn't as efficient against a certain type of players, like people who constantly disrespect your wave dash. And that's why I think if you're playing against that kind of keep out, I don't think wave dashing is super necessary for you. Because let's say I'm standing on this range. I can either decide to wave dash to close the gap, or I can just do a single dash to bait out his keep out. I can stand on this range and just wait for him to throw his keep out just from me dashing into him. It's like when I'm on this range and I'm going in and he tries to press his keep out, I'll just try to stand on range 2 and wait for his keep out to come out, and you can bait this keep out by dashing in and out and not getting too close to them, because you do want to have some space to backdash. So wave dashing is actually quite useless if your opponent constantly presses keep out. And the way you stop them from pressing keep out is either by using your longest range moves or spacing tools to, punish them for keeping you out. You can also counter hit them, but personally I think it's best to bait keep out on this range with double jin specifically, or like with Mishimas in general, because all of them share an electric, and then with punishing said keep out. The next level to using a wave dash is when they're somewhat more hesitant on immediately throwing out the keep out, you can decide to wave dash a bit longer into them to find out, or like to get a feel for their timing. When are they gonna throw out their keep out this time? Like, let's say I'm backdashing against this Kazuya and I want to jab him out of his wave dash eventually. It's not dumb at all to wave dash into your opponent, do a single backdash and check if they're trying to throw out keep out, like I did just now against this Kazuya. Time it perfectly and you can get a full launch just off moving around. But this is movement around, trying to create whiff opportunities and not to mix timings up. Most Mishima players will use their wave dashes actually to not only close the gap but also change up their mix-up timings. It's a very different guessing game once people start respecting your wave dashes, and I just told you how to make them respect your wave dash. It's basically by baiting their keep out so they become scared to press into you. Eventually, you will have them conditioned so much that even when you try to go in with a wave dash electric, it's basically free pressure. Because when they're so scared of throwing out keep out, you can just constantly keep up pressure until they start pressing into you again. So that's how the mind game layers go. You want them to press into your wave dash, so essentially you won't even be wave dashing that much, and especially in lower ranks, you won't be wave dashing as much, trust me when I say this, but you should be practicing your wave dashing on the side, because once you do know how to condition your opponents properly, that's when you really want to start implementing that wave dash in your game plan. And why do we do this? Like, we wave dash as Mishima players not only to create whiff opportunities, as I said, but also because you want to change up your mix-up timings. It's a different thing whether I just go in with a single dash and do a 4-4-2 or a hell sweep, This is the most obvious mix-up timing you can have. And it might work here and there, especially if they're not trying to keep you out. But eventually you'll realize that your health sweeps are getting blocked more often than not when you just go in and try to mix them up immediately. Those are what we call immediate mix-up timings. What you want to do instead is You want to wave dash into them, say they respect your wave dash a lot, and all of a sudden it becomes so much harder for them to guess on your mix-up timings. It's the same for knockdown situations, honestly. If I just go in and immediately try to hell sweep like this, it's so much more obvious than me trying to change my mix-up timing by wave dashing into him a bit more, and then pressing whatever button I want to press. So eventually they might get used to, okay, he just wave dash 3 times in a row and then press the hell sweep. Maybe I'll just block after the 3rd time, or I will try to forward keep out after the 2nd time. And then all of a sudden what you're gonna do is you're just gonna do a single wave dash before you press your button. And voila, you just change your mix-up timing, and it didn't take as much effort as you'd think it would do. However, you do have to have a clean wave dash down for this to happen. Like right now I'm super not warmed up, so I don't have the fastest wave dash or anything, or like the cleanest wave dash right now, but again, it's super worth practicing the wave dash on the side always, but you're not gonna find a lot of use for it in lower ranks, especially because people are so keen on pressing buttons against you and your wave dash on those ranks. Wave dashing only becomes really effective when they start respecting your wave dash. That's when your wave dash becomes the most effective. And you know what the coolest part is about the wave dash? You don't have to press a single button. As I said, you can use this as a spacing tool. You can use it as a gap closer if you're like on this range and you don't want to play the neutral from that range, but instead get a bit closer so you're actually in whiff punish range again, which is range 2 for Devil Jin, because you know, electric reaches from very far, especially when I press into you. And again, don't feel forced to press a button just because you're wave dashing. You can wave dash, you can sidestep from a wave dash, you can backdash from a wave dash, as I made the Kazuya do. Like, this is the easiest way to set up whiff opportunities, honestly. If your opponent gets nervous just from you wave dashing, that's when you wanna exploit that. You don't press a single button. Instead, you press movement and don't risk much. And that way, if they whiff into you, which is gonna happen a lot at lower ranks, and still happens at the highest ranks of play, you know, you can get so much mileage out of just moving around with that. Just keep in mind that if they keep disrespecting your wave dash, don't feel forced to wave dash. Like, there's no reason for you to be wave dashing so much and wasting your movement pretty much when you're constantly getting hit out of your wave dash. Instead, as I said, it's better to use it as a gap closer and stand on your whiff punish range. And that whiff punish range is super important. You want to stay on your effective whiff punish range on any character in this game as much as possible. And that brings us to our next point. Another form of wasted movement is wave dashing out of your effective whiff punish range so much that you can't even whiff punish in time anymore. Let's say this Kazuya player presses a down forward 2 and I'm already backdashing like twice. I'm on this range now. I'm so far out of range because I backdash only like twice or thrice that my whiff punish won't even reach anymore, like your effective whiff punish. Instead, on this range, all you get is, for example, up forward 3+4, or even back to 3 doesn't reach here. So you get my point. You don't want to be standing on this range with Devil Jin. That's why you don't want to be backdashing all too much, unless you really want to reset to neutral completely in a way where you want to get away from your opponent. This can be the case, for example, when your back was to the wall and you just got a side switch. So like you have a lot of space behind you and you just want to get away from the wall situation, which in this game you do want to get away from the wall as much as possible. To give you a short demonstration, let's go to the wall and switch the position. And let's say I have the Kazuya break this throw. So now I'm in a position where I have a lot of space behind me. It's fine to be backdashing a lot here if you want to get away from the wall situation, but even here, like even if the Kazuya player whiffs here, you have a much easier time with punishing actually, because you all of a sudden you have the potential to get wall splats from it with punishes. So even here, I don't think it's that smart to backdash away way too much. But again, if you want to get out of pressure as much as possible, it's not dumb to backdash as far away as possible, especially to make people go in against you, because Devil Jin in this game is somewhat stronger as a keep out focused character. So if you backdash to this range, it's more likely that people are trying to get to you and they get hit by a keep out electric, for example. And that's where another form of mind game starts. But just always keep in mind that even backdashing too much can be harmful to you. Your most effective range is basically this. 1 backdash away, maybe 2 backdashes away. If they press into you, they're gonna be in your electric range. So keep this in mind. I've talked about the specific topic before, but not exactly about the wave dashing part. just make sure that if they don't respect your wave dash, there's not much you have to do. The only thing you have to do is really stand on this range, bait their keep out, and only if they stop pressing so much keep out into your wave dash is when you want to start utilizing your wave dash more. There's so much to using a wave dash. Even a single dash block has so much use to it. Make sure that you try to use your movement as effectively as possible. Wave dashing isn't just going in and pressing a house sweep. It's really much more than that. And you're not going to have to opt for using a wave dash for as many different utility purposes until like the higher ranks where people actually start respecting you much more. Momo out. I hope you learned a lot from this guide.